What up, though? Dwan Dandridge. I'm back with another episode of Speak for Yourself. We are missing our dynamic COO, Ken Elkins. I'll only say nice things about him when he's not present, but we do have special guests with us, Jonathan Farley. And Jonathan, want to introduce you to the audience, but what we like to have our guests do is introduce themselves to the audience. So what would you like our audience to know about you by way of introduction?
Hello, everybody. My name is Jonathan Farley, owner of Access Point Towing and Transport. A businessman, entrepreneur, family man, man of God.
That's what's up. That's what's up, man. First, thanks for carving out time to come and hang out with me. You know, it's a pleasure to have you on here. I really enjoy watching the way you move. I've probably been knowing you for maybe how long you and Tiff been together?
Since, what's this, 5/25/19, since about 18,
18, yeah.
years.
So I think that's when we kind of started to get acquainted. And yeah, it's just been a joy, man, watching you on your journey. I really love the way you care for your family. I love the way you represent your faith, but in a way that keep a balance where people that are from where you come from don't feel like you trying to like distance yourself from them. Yeah. And it seems like you're willing to share your success with whoever is down to receive some of it. You know what I mean? So I respect and appreciate the way you move it that way. So let's start off, man. Where you from?
I'm from Schoolcraft.
Schoolcraft? Yeah. All right. So for those that don't know, that's in Detroit.
That's right.
It's thick in Detroit, right?
That up in the streets, yeah.
Yeah.
I do appreciate that too, man, that you, because that's exactly where I'm at too, where you say like the balance with faith and, not getting too detached from where I come from, in an effort to be able to still help the guys that need the most help. You know what I mean? So that's a beautiful eye you got on you for that. That's exactly where I'm at.
Yeah.
Something
I mean,
real good.
The guys that need the most help, I think me and you probably used to be one of them, right?
100%,
Yeah. So what would you say was your first introduction to being an entrepreneur?
Legally.
Wherever you want to share, legally or illegally.
Well, my grandfather, I think it was instilled in me from them. He started Unity Cab Company in the city, Safeway Transportation.
Your grandfather started Unity Cab Company?
Started Unity
Cab I didn't
Company.
know that.
Started Safeway Transportation, the school buses.
Okay.
And, he passed in 98. And so, I was very young watching it. I wasn't old enough to be a part of it. And, I would just remember all the stories and stuff like that. And I think that's what, always allowed me to know that I can do it. You know what I mean? Because you know how entrepreneurship is. And so my first real spill at it was really the streets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just trying to, getting involved in the streets, telling myself I was trying to better my situation, really not knowing enough.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tempting and it's accessible, right?
Yeah, 100%.
One of the things that, going to the thing that we acknowledged about you and trying to create opportunity for those that need it and don't have a whole lot of access to opportunity, right? I think that's one of the things that the streets offered us when we were younger, right? Like the streets would take and give anybody a shot. You know what I mean? Like now, the folks that would put you on, they also would have an eye for talent, right? Like if you knew what you were doing and were ambitious enough and somewhat sharp, you could advance yourself in that industry, right?
Yeah, and so a lot of why I was chosen, as a younger guy, is because I can listen. That was my best trait I ever had. Was I just always listen.
Yeah.
And mimic it. You know what I mean? Play it right back. And so that's good in any business you're in. If you got somebody that can listen and really follow through with what you explaining.
Yeah. So I think about when I hear people in the workforce development space. I know there's a lot of dollars that ends up going to initiatives like that. And I hear people frustrated with their initiatives because they're like, we got these initiatives and we can't fill the seats, right? So there's a disconnect from the streets, from the community, from the people that need those chances. Like they don't know how to reach them. You don't seem to have a problem reaching them. Seem like, folks that I see you with that you give a shot. They come from, places where people say they can't get people to come from, and they can't gain talent, recruit any talent from.
Yeah, most of that come from me being a risk taker. You know
Okay.
what I mean? I take risks in a lot of guys, especially younger guys in their 20s and stuff like that. Because I know, the still voice at that point in their life can really, propel them along the way. You know what I mean? So I take risks in a lot of them, and I also position myself where the risk won't take me out the game neither.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I ain't doing it totally blindly, and I'm staying on them throughout the way too. I ain't letting them think it's no cakewalk. You know what I mean?
No, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I could, remember, the streets being similar to that.
Yeah.
Right. Like, take a chance. Right. Like oftentimes it was somebody giving you, a sack is what we called it back in the day. And once they put that in your possession, there's a lot of risk depending on how much they would give, right? Yeah. But it's interesting because I often feel like the folks that could change the unemployment rates, the folks that could get out here and recruit from those places, I feel like we got most of them locked up. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They knew how to recruit. Yeah. They gave us what I feel like you're giving some of the folks that work with you, a commercial, right?
100%.
It's like we wanted to be like Mike because they came out with a commercial that said, I want to be like Mike. Yeah. And we wanted to be like the drug dealers because they were accessible. They were in front of us. They rolled down our street. The sounds was thumping. Their rides was clean. They had jewelry on. They had pretty girls, you know what I mean? Things that we were taught to want anyway. And I think that's where a lot of those people that could recruit and change things for us, I wish that we could create a plan to get some of them home and position them in leadership roles, right? And the ones that I see come home or that didn't necessarily go away, I see them out there doing that type of work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's another good point because, to the beginning, what you were saying, it's about exposure. Like all that was being exposed to us, and of course we gravitate towards that. And so it's the saying, like they say, if my father was a doctor, I probably would have been a doctor. Yep. You know what I mean? Yep. And so we sit around and we exposed to those things, and then it take us bumps in the road, like a prison sentence or something like that, for us to get on our feet or slow down enough to even see what's real and what's not. And so when I think of that, also I think about how, because I had to do I was sentenced to 60 months in federal prison, and we was trying to buy drugs, and it was a setup. And when we got there, it was a big sting, and the feds picked up the case, offered us 60 months or go to trial. So everybody's scared of the feds, so we took the 60 months, and people looked at it like a arrest, but it was a rescue for me. You know what I mean? Like clean cut rescue. So I was able to sit in there, and I ain't gonna lie, man, I know it sounds funny. I think a lot of these guys need little small bids. I think a lot of them, need to be snatched out of this society and sat down for a couple of years to get their mind right, because a lot of us just on the gas and no brakes, Yeah. And so me sitting in there for 60 months, the main thing that helped me the most, to help transform my life, is when I stopped pointing the finger at the guy that called me to the deal. So when I first went in there, my mind was set on, oh, he set me up, man, But ultimately, I had the opportunity to go. It was my decision to go, whether he called me or not. And so when I made that decision to go, that's what landed me in prison. And so when I sat in there and I started to hold myself accountable for those things, that started to break chains. Got back closer to God. And so now, before I get into anything, I know it's my butt on the line, so to speak, you know.
Yeah.
And so I hold myself accountable as I move through. And I always, you know, like you say, with some of the guys, I'm always uncut with them. I let them know, man, I've been through it all. I see where you're going, and if you listen to me, I can help you. You know, things of that nature, the same stuff.
Yeah.
Give back, you know.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I appreciate like you even inviting us into that part, right? What would you say? Can you remember, like, when that moment was when you were like, it wasn't him, it was me?
Well, I had this drug counselor because I was fortunate enough to take a drug program called RDAP in the federal system. They got this program that'll knock 18 months off your sentence if you complete the system. Complete the program. And so I went through it, and I had this drug counselor. His name was Harold Sawyer. Man, this man did a lot for me. He didn't even know it. But I was telling him, like, yeah, man, you know, I was set up, you know, this and that. And he pulled out my file. He said, man, you was doing stuff way before this call, man. You know what I'm saying? And so he taught me that I needed to start holding myself accountable for things. And he asked me a question, do you love your family? I said, yeah. He said, who do you have them loving? You know what I'm saying? And so you got them loving a drug dealer. You got them loving this type of guy. You know what I mean? This and that. And so,
who do you have them loving?
Yeah, so stuff like that just started to just sat down in me. And once again, I'm sitting down. I'm in here with all these, you know, a bunch of guys from all over the world. You know, so I'm learning so much stuff even in prison. Yeah. You know? And it's like, man, you gotta wake up, you know, high self-talks. A lot of strong self-talks with myself, you know, convince myself to do, you know, what's right. Like, I got a small story my mother used to tell me I would do when I was a kid. She said she'd look out the back window and I'd be on this small step telling myself to jump, 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 you know, and that, I kept that like, dang, that's how I was convincing myself to take that jump, you know. Okay. And so I use that to this day, you know, I convince myself to, you know, kind of do the right things, you know what I mean,
Do you remember the words in some of those self-talks? I know some of the self-talks that I've given myself. Can you remember, like, one of them or a portion of it?
Really, no, it's not. It's not to the point where I can remember the, you know, the words. It's just more about, you know, pulling myself out. I think with me. Yeah, so good. A lot with me, like I kind of get like one-sided, one-track minded on things and just focus on, you know, the pull-out, basically, of the danger. Yeah.
So you look at, like, then, but, like, you look at now, right? And you are a commercial still, but just in a different way, right? Like, if anybody is around you, you definitely have what people like would see as signs of success, right? Yes, you have beautiful family, right? Like, you have a business going on, you have a beautiful home, and you're employing people, right? So I think that's one of the things that will always seem to be attractive, because I think we would have, even when we were younger, if we would have saw you around, we would have wanted to know how's he doing that, right? So talk to us about Access Point. What is Access Point?
Access Point is a company that I came up with in 2014. And it's just that it was the access point out of that life, you know. That's why I named it that. And so even when I hire guys, I tell them this is your access point, you know. I ain't one of them bosses that think I'm about to have you for the next 15, 20 years, you know. I do everything a little unconventional in that term, in that sense, you know. But yeah, access point is that. It's, you know, I was working when I came home. I was released on 11/12/13. I had the privilege to work in a collision shop, taking cars apart, putting them back together. Had a boss that I was close with before I left who kind of blew up, and, you know, he allowed me that privilege. And, you know, the guys around, it wasn't a good fit for me. And so I would see the tow truck drivers coming in and out, and I would see that sense of a little bit of independence that they had where they can sit on the truck and at least not be up under their boss all day.
Gotcha.
And so I hunted that down when it got me a truck. Well, actually, I left there, went and worked for a company for like 7 days, getting trained. Told my boss, look, man, I think I'm ready. He didn't like the way I was talking and the way I was walking, and he fired me right then. So here I am. I leave my job. I come home, go train for another company that I'm, pursuing this profession. Get fired from there in 7 days.
After 7 days.
Yeah, and got to go borrow some money. Luckily, I was a good guy to a lot of people, and, I got some money from a few guys, went and put down on the truck. Never looked back. And so that's what
started off with one tow truck.
Yeah, I started off with one. Now I got 5. Got a lot. Got 2 facilities. Getting into parts now. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Going to next levels with it, and just staying, staying hungry still the whole time.
Good. That's good. How many employees? How many people are employed
It's like
at
9.
Access Point right now?
It's like 9.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Women and men.
That's good.
All from Detroit. Mostly all young.
Yeah.
Ain't got to worry about them in your backyards and breaking in your houses. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because they
Right.
with me.
They're employed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good, man. That's good. That's beautiful. Where do you want to go? Right. Where do you see yourself in Access Point going?
Well, we trying to become like one of the strong black families, black companies in the city for towing and service. You know what I mean? And also for parts, and cars. Because a lot of our people, when we get our money, a lot of us end up in bad positions when we go to spend our money to get our car repaired or whatever. And I ain't trying to put nobody down who running the show right now, but I know where my heart at and what I plan to do for our people.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So, so you brought faith into it, right? Yeah. I think about what you said when you talk about like that probably saved you. That's huge. It's a hard lesson. It's a hard thing to swallow, right? As a passage of scripture, I'm probably going to jack up the location, but I think it's in Psalm 25:12. So I'm sure somebody will be out there wanting to fact check. But what it states is, who is he that loves the Lord? Him shall he teach in the way that he sees fit, right? And I think what I hear from that is God knows exactly how to teach a lesson.
Yes.
And he customizes it, right? It's not cookie cutter. You know what I mean? Like the lesson is for you. He got the exact specific
100%.
lesson that's going to get you to understand what he's trying to teach you. And for me, it might be a different lesson. You know what I mean? And I really appreciate that, about the Creator. Even though, sometimes for people like me, the lesson can be hard. But I get it, you know what I mean, when the lesson is hard. So let's talk about that, man. What is like faith, the role faith is playing kind of in the way that you move as a father, husband, right? And then as an entrepreneur.
Well, faith for me has been, I don't know if it's correct, but it's kind of like my moral compass, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Kind of, it guides me, and I'm also big on faith and works, you know what I mean? I don't leave out that part, you know what I mean?
That's what's up.
And so I don't want to sit up wishing for it and ain't working for it, you know what I mean? Putting myself in position for it. And I believe that's what really opens the door to the faith. Puts you in the seats, puts you in a position, for what you, part of God's will, what you are trying to receive. You know what I mean? So my faith is, man, I've been saving so much, man. It's just like I know it's a stronger power watching over me. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I submit to it. You know what I mean? And I roll what come with it.
That's what's up.
Like they say about carrying that cross, it get heavy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No doubt.
You wanted it.
No
you
doubt.
wanted to see.
No doubt.
Yeah.
At least you said you did.
Yeah.
At least you said you did. I don't know if you knew if you wanted it or not, but we say we do, right? Mm-hmm. You had a post, and I'm probably going to jack it up. I'm not going to remember it. But you had a post that talked about, I think what the gist of it, what you were trying to communicate is somebody that would put you on or show you the game instead of maybe either boasting you or shaming you that you don't know the game. Yeah. Do you remember the words in that post?
Are you speaking? I think it was something along the lines about a real OG or something like that.
Yeah. Do you remember what it said?
I don't remember it verbatim, but, you know, basically what you said. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that goes way back to what you were saying in the beginning about how, you know, that exposure and how what we set our eyes on at that time, you know, can send us on a ghost hunt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Type of thing.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think about the talent that is in our communities.
Yeah.
So there's a brother that's on our funding board right now. His name's Jason, and he's a senior vice president for Invest Detroit. He grew up in off Schoolcraft, you know what I mean? And he worked on Wall Street, you know what I'm saying? Dynamic mind.
Yeah.
You know, he might be your age, might be a little bit older.
Gotcha.
Man of faith, and he's serious about like his business and the way that he moves, and just respect him. But I also think about like the brothers that didn't, you know what I mean, get to work on Wall Street. Like there's still some brilliant minds there. And sometimes we feel like they're missing out. But I think that we're all missing out, right? Because that's a lot of talent that we're not benefiting from. You know what I mean? And I appreciate, you know, the gentleman that you said some thought-provoking things enough to kind of like shake you up and get you like rattled enough to like reimagine and look at things a different way, because those are the ones that are able to tap into that talent that's in us and pull it out and spark it and redirect it. So, it's exciting, man.
Yeah, that's a good breakdown too, because, you know, like even the younger guys, some of the guys I have around me, I look at them and see that, but it's like, I don't know what's stopping it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't, and then, you know, you get to the point where you can't want it more than them.
That's it.
You know what I mean? And it's almost like they can do it till it's time to do it, or till they have to do it at a certain time, but they can do it freely all they want. But when it's time to do it in unisex or something like that, it's like it's, you know, they don't cut the switch on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about that? So I used to be a general contractor, and I remember early on when I started my own company, if somebody's mom came to me and said, give my son a job, I would give him a shot. Later on, if it was your mama asking me for you, I wouldn't mess with you, right? Because of what you said. What I never learned how to do is teach desire. I never learned how to teach somebody how to want something. But the ones that did come on their own and humped, it was like you said, they didn't stay with me long because they were going to be there to figure out how to go and get something for themselves. So can you talk a little bit about that, right? Some of what you see out there when you're ready to give somebody a shot. Is there something specific that you look for now, or do you take I'm gonna take anybody and give them a shot and see how it pans out?
Well, I ain't gonna lie, man. My discernment be through the roof. Like once I got them around me, and when I get to hearing where they mind are, some of them be too far to even be impressionable. You know. Okay. So when you get that far, it's like I don't know if I'm gonna be the right stop for you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But the guys who I can look at and be like, you know, well, even if that's what I tell them, even if you leave from Access Point, man, you're going to take something with you that's going to help you on your next stop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so
that's real.
That's kind of how I move in that aspect with younger guys and older guys. I feel like a lot of things hold us back too, as far as titles and age, you know, because I feel like we all need to continue to be taught and, you know, continue to humble ourselves to be able to listen and learn. And so if I can get some young guys that listen, you know, I keep saying young, but if I get guys that can listen, that's all I need, man. You know what I mean? I've been in it 10 years, so I'm still here for a reason.
No doubt.
You know what I mean?
No
Going
doubt.
on 10 years, you know?
Yeah,
So.
no doubt, no doubt. That's huge, man. I don't think I have any more questions. Is there anything exciting, new on the horizon that we didn't touch on that you might want to share?
Yeah, I want to share access point to stability. That's my new baby, so to speak, and we building that up because we feel we want to help guys get stable. You know, teach guys concepts and things that have put them in position to become stable, and you know, let everything else come. And so right now, my first trip, my first give back, we taking them to the Invest Fest.
Okay.
Yeah, in Atlanta. So it's a mixture of education and entertainment. Some of the biggest names. You get down there, you can learn some concepts, rub some shoulders with some pretty smart people.
Nice.
And you know, kind of focusing on that, the financial part of it. You know, trying to make that like real strong in our minds to you know, to be able to do the work.
All right. Nice. How many people are going with y'all?
We got I think it's about 24 of us.
So 24 people going down to learn about investment in Atlanta.
All from Detroit.
That's huge, man.
Teenagers, 20-year-olds, 30. Like it's a good mixture too.
That's huge. That's
women
huge.
and men.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. Well, be praying for y'all. Be praying for you, man. Like extremely proud to be family with you. Extremely proud to have some similarities as far as like the neighborhood that we both were kind of had some formative years in, and extremely proud to as somebody that like believes in black entrepreneurs to see you sit in that space, man. And I know that like to God be the glory, ultimately, but definitely like respect. So thanks for coming to hang out and speaking for yourself. You know what? Before I let you out of here, I do want to hit one segment, Tez. Okay. So can you take and put this on the inside of that closeout, or do I need to close all again?
You probably close all again.
Close all again. All right, bet. All right, so we do different segments, and so we got a few. I'll let you pick one. So we got one called the Angry Black Woman or Angry Black Man, and that is a spin on when, you know, we get upset about something and people try to be like, oh, you know, label us the angry black man or angry black woman. We like to say, look, we got things that we should be angry about. You know what I mean? And there ain't no shame in being angry. You know what I mean? So I'm often angry, but I'm also a lot of other things at the same time, right? The one like emotion is not going to define me, but you ain't going to shame me for being angry because y'all get to be angry all the time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So anyway, that's it. So you can share something that upsets you, that makes you angry. You know what I mean? But you still don't allow yourself to lose control. Code switching, we still ain't got a great definition of that. Jon Snow, did you ever watch the what's it called? Game of Thrones? No. Nope. All right, so you wouldn't know that one. Or 5 Heartbeats, though, right? You never watched 5 Heartbeats?
I watched it, but it was
you
so
don't
long
remember
ago.
it? All right. So there was a point in there where there was a fight getting ready to break out. Well, this guy was trying to talk to they was doing Shot Brother. He was trying to talk to this other guy's girlfriend.
Yeah, I remember
walked
that
off,
part.
and my man came back with the drink and was like, I got to fight every night just to prove my love, right? So that's a segment that you could do. So I would say Angry Black Man, or I got to fight every night just to prove my love. And that's just saying this is something that I've often find myself fighting for, you know what I mean, and whatever that thing is. So which one would you pick?
I guess we can go with the Angry Black Man.
All right.
Give me a quick shout out again with that.
Yeah, so it is something that makes you angry, and you should be angry about it, right? But you also, that being angry does not define you, but you're not going to be shamed about being angry about it. You know what I mean? So for me, one of the things that make me angry is code switching, right? One of the things that makes me angry is that, you know, in a city as black as Detroit, sometimes when we don't say the same thing when white people are around that we say when we're around.
Gotcha.
And it has different impacts, right? Like sometimes we have allies from the white community that don't even know how we really feel. So we got them going to be advocates for us, and they saying what they heard us say, but we've neglected to say how we really feel. Say something totally different when it's just us. When they're around, we be like, giving them something that's like, just inaccurate or incomplete. So that's one of the things that upsets me. Other thing is like us code switching and changing who we are, how we move, how we talk to make people more comfortable or to fit in a city where we're the majority. You know what I mean? I'm like, we shouldn't be code switching. You know what I mean? When I'm in a business forum in Detroit, and opposed to like giving a senior white man the professional type handshake, I might dap him up and bring him in for a hug and be like, you in Detroit. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's those are some of the things that sometimes make me feel angry. So do you have something that upsets, annoys you, makes you angry?
I do. I just don't have it off the top where I can be like descriptive with it.
No worries, Dan. No worries. We ain't gonna force it. We ain't gonna force it.
Like that.
That's what's up. Well, y'all have heard Access Point Towing's president, CEO, owner, Jonathan, and we hope y'all enjoyed hearing him speak for himself.